Hi guys, so today we're going to look at doing an installation and demonstration of the ASR component RX2 ML2 exhaust valve module into my 2020 Mercedes GLC 43 with AMG Performance Exhaust option. So the first thing we've got to do is we've got to remove this large foam cover so we can identify the correct spot to install the wires through the factory grommets. Okay, so now we've got the boot cover exposed and the underbody chassis is visible. You can pass through the two sets of cables from the ASR module to underneath the chassis down in the exhaust area. So to do that, you just got to locate the rubber grommet, which you can see down the back there. That rubber grommet from the factory has a wiring harness from factory as well. You just need to get a razor and cut away some of the rubber grommet to allow the two ASR cables to pass through. I've also secured, you can see here, with a couple of zip ties, excess wire from the ASR module. I did that at the very end once everything was installed, just so everything's appropriately tensioned and wires aren't going to be drooping underneath the chassis. Alright, well let's just go have a look underneath to show you where these wires exit and then how you run that through to the two exhaust flaps on the AMG Performance exhaust. Okay, we're underneath the car now. You don't need to jack it up. I will put it on a ramp stand. You are able just to slide underneath and access this exhaust area to install the ASR valve module. I'm unable to show exactly where the wires exit through that rear grommet, where the wires are pushed through in the boot area. Unfortunately, I can't get my camera in there. However, you'll see when you poke the wires through that rubber grommet, they'll just be dangling down the back here area near the exhaust. You need to then direct one set of wires to each exhaust tip, one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side. At the moment, you're looking at the driver's side exhaust valve, in at least an Australian car, right-hand drive. And you need to be quite careful when you're installing this module, because there's actually two sets of factory plugs. So there's one set here. This is the almost like a little extension cable. So what happens is the factory wires is this one here, which comes from up into the car body, comes down, and it goes into this first little plug. Behind this plug, there's actually another wire, which is the one that directly goes into the valve. You need to unplug this from the valve and insert the corresponding ASR wire into that. Then the other ASR wire goes into the valve directly behind here. I'll get another shot for you so that's easier to see. So here's the exhaust valve itself. There's two plugs. What happens is that from the factory, the wire goes from the top of the car into this plug here, and then this plug then wraps around and inserts into the exhaust valve itself. You need to make sure when you're installing the exhaust valve module that the module cable goes into the exhaust valve itself, not the extension cable. Otherwise you'll run into trouble and you'll get error codes in your car. So we're now onto the passenger side of the vehicle. You'll note that the exhaust valve is sitting behind this silver shroud and the plug is also visible. Now, unlike the driver's side, there is no extension cable wiring harness, so you can plug the ASR module directly into the valve there. It obviously goes without saying that how the system works is that the module sits in line with the wiring harness. So you unplug the factory wire and plug that into one side of the two-prong ASR cable, and the other goes directly into the exhaust valve, as you can see here. After that, you just got to bunch up the wires and try and secure them best you can down the back here, so it's easy and not going to be affecting the driving of the car. Once you've installed the exhaust valve module, make sure you put enough zip ties underneath the vehicle to ensure the wire doesn't droop down. You then should also put the zip ties in the boot area when you pull through the excess wire to make sure that everything is appropriately tensioned and you're not going to get any droops underneath the vehicle. I then will have the actual module sitting outside of the fuse box. It's not really held under any particular tension, just for ease of reception with the remote control. So I'll show you how you now use the remote control to control the exhaust valve module from ASR. So this is the remote control for the valves. Button number 1 opens the valves, button number 2 closes the valves, and button number 3 returns the car to stock through a pass-through mode. If you ever want to turn off the valves, I recommend you enter the pass-through mode and close the valves using the button in the cabin. Reason being that under high loads, the ECU will automatically open the valves if you have them closed in the cabin using the switch there. So if you have the valves closed using the ASR remote, that will override that safety feature. Otherwise, the whole system is very simple to use, relatively simple to install, and you'll get some higher volumes from the exhaust in at least the down low RPM rev range. I'll splice in some videos now giving a bit of a demonstration of what the sound's like, and you can do a comparison, you can see if it suits you. Thanks for watching, everyone.